What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another windy Friday. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the 2023 Subaru Forester Wilderness. So some of these features that we're going to be talking about are specific to the Wilderness Edition, and I'll point those out as we go along, but some of them are pretty obvious, like the gigantic Subaru Wilderness badging, but other things may not be as obvious, and I'll point those out like I said. But we'll start up front and work our way front to back and then into the cabin and talk about everything that this 2023 Forester Wilderness has to offer. So starting up front, you do have LED steering responsive headlights with high beam assist. Now this LED headlight package, again, is not specific to the Wilderness here, but if we jump down to these hexagonal Gatling gun style fog lights, those will be specific to the Wilderness. We see this on every single Wilderness model. I just took a look at the 2024 Crosstrek Wilderness. If you're interested, I did a little walk around video on that. I'll have it linked in the description, but these are really, really cool. I love the design of these. We first saw those obviously on the Outback Wilderness that came out several years ago. Another thing that will be specific to the Wilderness is this super bolstered cladding that we have. This whole front area of the grille typically has a lot of gloss plastic or chrome accents depending on what trim you're looking at, but here it's just hard black plastic cladding because that's more aggressive. Big Subaru badge here. You do have a front-facing camera, which we'll take a look at when we hop inside. But again, just this cladding runs all the way around the front grille, down to this bottom lip. You've got your tow hook behind here. A little bit of a satin accent at the bottom, some ventilation here as well, but more big chunky cladding around those hexagonal fog lights as well. And that cladding works its way back and up onto the wheel wells here. We'll get to that in just a sec. I did want to go back to the hood here though. You have this matte black hood decal that helps with sun reflection and it just looks kind of more aggressive and sporty and off-roady. So they went ahead and put that there. Under the hood of every single Subaru Forester, you're going to have the same 2.5 liter DOHC boxer engine, 182 horsepower, 176 pound-feet of torque, 28 miles per gallon highway, 25 miles per gallon city, and all of them will be paired with a Lineartronic CVT. Now moving on back to the wheels here, these are specific to the Wilderness. These are 17-inch matte black alloy wheels, and they're wrapped in these Yokohama Geolandar tires. You're not going to get that on any other trim. That is specific here to the Wilderness. If we move on back even more, of course, this Wilderness badge will only be on the Wilderness. And then these black mirror caps with this textured plastic material, those are going to be specific to the Wilderness as well. They have integrated turn signals, blind spot monitoring. They are heated. They are manual folding though. Black trim around the windows, keyless access here on the door panels. And I just wanted to say I love this autumn green metallic color. I think it looks so nice. Contrast the black cladding and the copper Wilderness accents. I'm a big fan of this color combo. The geyser blue is really nice too, but I think if I had to pick between, I'd go with the autumn green metallic. Up top, you have these raised ladder style roof rails here, and these have an 800-pound static load capacity, so that is going to be specific here to the Wilderness trim. You have a little bit more of those copper accents and then a little bit of that textured plastic inside here as well. You've got a panoramic moonroof up top. It's not like a full all the way across. It's just a little bit bigger than your standard moonroof, but they call it a panoramic. Additional bolstered cladding at the bottom of the door panels, and you have your little copper Forester badging there as well. Also down here at the wheel wells, you'll notice you have little splash guards here that are your Wilderness specific splash guards. So nice little touch there. And you'll also have probably noticed the additional ground clearance. So you go from 8.7 to 9.2 inches of ground clearance here on the Wilderness. I think it's super noticeable, especially if you line any of the Wilderness trims up with their normal trim counterparts. You can really tell the difference. All right, so moving to the tailgate here, again, you'll notice the super bolstered cladding that runs across the back of the tailgate here. Intersects with our Subaru badging here. Tinted rear glass, rear wiper, a little bit of a lip to keep stuff off of your back windshield. Rear vision camera up underneath here. And then you have this nice bumper guard right here that has a little bit of a textured element to it. More of that cladding, parking sensors, little diffuser at the bottom. And then you have your exhaust tip over here. Reflectors as well. You have powder black Forester badging here. Subaru badging, symmetrical all-wheel drive badging. I really like the powdered black look. I'm a big fan of that. And it looks real nice too with your Wilderness badge right here. So another one of those. C-shaped taillights that we've been seeing on all of these recent Subaru models, right in line with everything else. These are not LED taillights though. These are just your standard halogen bulb taillights, but nonetheless, they look nice. Up underneath, you've got my camera case as always, and a ton of cargo capacity back here. Cargo net, cargo shade. You've got these little levers here where you can drop your second row seats for additional cargo space. But even with those seats up, you have a ton of cargo space here in the back seat. And again, if you fold them down, you get even more. Now underneath, you do have an additional full-size Yokohama Geolandar tire. So if any of these ones go out, if you're, off-roading or something like that, you don't have to worry about putting a donut on there. You actually get a full-size, exact same type of tire back here underneath, which is really nice. You got your Harman Kardon speaker system back here as well. Little LED light under here. Then you have your button to drop your tailgate and to lock your tailgate as well. And if we look right here, you also, okay. And if we look under here, you actually have this little button down here. If you guys didn't know, this button will allow you to enter a secret code to unlock your 2023 Forester here. If you guys want to know how to do this, check out my hidden features video. I'll have it linked in the description. But let's go ahead and hop inside the cabin. All right, so hopping inside the cabin here of the Forester Wilderness, let's go ahead and just work our way through everything that we have inside this cabin. Starting over here on the door panels, you have this same textured material similar to what is outside on the mirror caps on the door panels here. You have more of the leather material with some white accent stitching that runs its way down. Here on the armrest, you have more of that soft touch leather with some gold or copper accent stitching to mirror some of the other accents in the cabin. Automatic windows for driver and passenger. Mirror controls here. A little bit more of that textured material at the bottom of the door panel. Some cup holders, and then your Harman Kardon audio system down here. Now, contrary to some of the newer models I've taken a look at on this channel, you actually have quite a few buttons over here on the left side. You have your trunk height button, you have your steering responsive headlight button, you have your trunk memory button, you have your traction control button, you have your auto start stop engine, and then you have your blind spot monitoring, and you have your brightness controls for your driver information cluster. So a lot of options over here. You've got some vents. Then you have more of that textured plastic or rubber material with some copper accent stitching, soft touch plastic that runs across the top, a little bit more of that textured material and more copper accent stitching, and then a little kind of brushed gray textured material above the glove box. Everything from there down is basically hard touch plastic, except for a little bit more of the leather material, a little bit more texture, and a little bit more of that soft touch leather on the center console here. So it's honestly a pretty premium cabin comparatively to some of the other models I've taken a look at as far as the materials go. They make their way pretty far down, which is not always the case. You do have a nice leather wrapped steering wheel here with more of that copper accent stitching, a little bit of this copper U-shaped accent at the bottom of the steering wheel. All of your media controls are on the left side, and then your adaptive cruise control, your lane centering, your SI drive buttons, and your gap adjust buttons are all on the right side. Paddle shifters on the back, very used to that. Light controls, wiper controls, nothing different there at all. Past that, you have a tiny little driver information cluster that has your safety systems, your adaptive cruise control options, gears, and it is surrounded by two standard analog gauges as well. They do have some nice accents on them, little Subaru Wilderness badge, little copper ring around each of them, a little bit of a textured element behind them. We've yet to see a fully digital display on any Subaru except for the Solterra, which is really just a BZ4X, so it doesn't really count. But maybe in the future when we get a redesigned Forester. This is a manually tilting and telescoping steering wheel. If we move on up, you get another little driver information cluster, and it is actually above your regular infotainment system. And this shows you different things like climate control is on there. You've got different vehicle information on there as well. You can see water temp, oil temp, you can see weather, basically everything that would be on the top of the 11.6-inch infotainment display is up here on the 2023 Forester, because we have yet to see that full vertical display come to the Forester. Soon enough we'll get it, I'm sure, since it's made its way to every other model. But if we move on down from that, you have an 8-inch infotainment display. This is not Subaru's most up-to-date infotainment system, but it still looks really good, and it still is in line with what we get on the full 11.6-inch vertical display. It has phone, Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, navigation, Subaru Starlink. You have your front view monitor camera that we took a look at. That actually goes on the top screen, though it doesn't go on this infotainment screen. But what does go on this infotainment screen is your rear view camera here with your parking sensors and your collision detection bars, basically. But you also have a CD player, which is not something you can say for every new Subaru model. So if you're someone that still needs a CD player, definitely check out the 2023 Forester. You have some physical controls for your media, home button, you have your flashers here, then you have your dual zone climate control system here, individually adjustable for driver driver and passenger, and you can sync them up. You also have some vents in the rear seats. If we move on down, you do have an aux port, then you have 2 USB-A ports and a 12-volt outlet. Nice little pad here for storage. And then you have this Lineartronic CVT shift knob right here. It does have a little bit of a copper accent and then some piano black plastic right on the top where your hand sits. Just no logic whatsoever. Then you do have a little bit of a leatherette at the bottom with some copper accent stitching as well. More piano black plastic around here, and it's already just covered in dust and fingerprints, and I've barely touched it. You have your dual zone X mode right here. This has your snow and dirt and your deep snow and mud, which is going to be on the Wilderness here. Electronic parking brake, auto vehicle hold, your front view monitor, like I mentioned, your button is right here. And then you have your heated seats on these little toggles here for driver and passenger. 2 cup holders. Then inside the center console, you have another 12-volt outlet, but no more USB ports. Up top, you have this black liner that I think looks really nice. Little sunglasses holder right here. You have your panoramic moonroof controls, your LED dome lights, nice chunky rear view mirror with a compass and HomeLink garage door controls. And of course, you have your eyesight cameras right here. Now, as far as the seating surfaces go, these are Subaru's StarTex weather repellent seating surfaces. So they're super durable, water resistant, all that kind of good stuff. Perfect for taking outdoors, off-road, all that kind of stuff. They have Subaru Wilderness badging in the headrest. They have some copper accent stitching. They have this kind of textured hexagonal material, and they feel really nice. They kind of feel like a raincoat a little bit, but maybe a little bit more soft and supple than a raincoat. Less harsh of a texture. Definitely comfortable seats. I've been sitting in them for a good bit now. Super comfortable. I've driven around a lot of these Subaru vehicles with StarTex seats, and I'm a fan of them. I think they feel really nice. The driver is a 10-way power adjustable seat with 2-way lumbar support. Passenger seat is a manually adjustable seat. All right, so hopping into the back seats here. Nice, comfortable rear seats with that StarTex material. Plenty of leg room. I do have this seat kind of far up, but even if it was a little bit further back, I'd still have plenty of leg room back here. Decent headroom as well. Doesn't really raise, but you still have nice headroom. Not the best shoulder room, to be fair. My shoulder kind of goes right into this door panel here and then crosses over into this middle section. You have a fold out here with 2 cup holders. These are 60/40 split folding seats, but you could easily fit 2 adults back here. You've got that extra shoulder room, you've got that armrest. 3 kids are gonna be fine. 3 adults, as always, is always possible. Just the comfort and, shoulder room, arm room is gonna be limited for sure. You do have 2 pockets. One's kind of a more compact pocket. It's kind of like 3 pockets, small pocket, medium pocket, and a large pocket here. You do have rear vents, like I said, 2 USB-A charging ports, and then if you go up to a higher trim level, you're gonna get heated rear seats as well. You don't have them here on the Wilderness though. Again, that panoramic sunroof will come back enough, give you a little bit of extra air and visibility and make the cabin feel nice, big, and bright. But overall, I think including the materials on the door panels, you have a really nice second row seat here. Super comfortable. All right, let's take the Forester Wilderness here for a little test drive. I'm not going to be taking it off-road or anything crazy like that since this is a brand new vehicle to our lot. I'll let the customer who buys this vehicle do that, but we will give it a little speed test, acceleration, talk about the infotainment usability, driver convenience features, things like that. So let's go ahead and get it out here on the main road. First and foremost, I guess I could just talk about the visibility. You do have a pocket window here, but you still have complete visibility of your side mirrors. Nice big glass here, huge front glass as always, nice big rear glass as well, no issues there. Visibility in Subarus just is always excellent. There's very few exceptions to that. They do a really good job with it. As far as driver infotainment, it's fine. It definitely is feeling a little bit dated at this point. It doesn't even have wireless CarPlay, only wired there, so that's a little bit unfortunate. And having this little extra display up here, which you probably can't see that well, but that feels outdated to me. I've been looking at Foresters for, I feel like, the past 5 years that have had something similar, maybe even longer than that. So this is definitely feeling dated up here, and not having that 11.6-inch screen yet makes this vehicle feel older than it is, but we'll see when we get that in the near future. But as far as functionality, everything does work the same, including how kind of not responsive it is. It's still pretty laggy. So it's just something to keep in mind. If you do use in-vehicle navigation, it's just not the best, but Apple CarPlay, Waze, Google Maps is gonna work better than that anyway. The push to start engine button's in a terrible spot, as always. I do really like all of the Wilderness accents, so like the little gold rings and the little badging up here and the accent stitching on the steering wheel and all this. All those kind of accents are really nice. The StarTex seats are very comfortable too. I would say they're perfectly positioned. They're not more comfortable, I think, than the actual leather seats that you get on higher trim levels, but they are more comfortable than the cloth seats, no doubt about that. And they are going to be more resistant to liquid spills and dirt and grime and things like that. So if you want that and for off-road purposes, or maybe, hey, you're a family and you just want to have seats that are more spill-proof and things like that, not a bad option at all here to go with these StarTech seats. Let's go ahead and get an acceleration test. Again, it is a CVT, so you have inherent lag there, and you do have 182 horsepower, and I've got to say, having the same horsepower as the Crosstrek with a vehicle that's larger than the Crosstrek and heavier than the Crosstrek just doesn't really sit right with me. I think it feels a little bit underpowered, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. It just feels underpowered to me. I can't lie to you guys. I gotta be transparent there. Even on that acceleration test right there, it doesn't feel responsive and quick as far as the acceleration goes. Now, steering-wise, it feels fine. No issues there. Feels responsive. Braking, very responsive. It's a Subaru, you'd expect that. But let's try out the driver assistance features, and by that I just mean the adaptive cruise control with lane centering. So we'll go ahead and set that, turn on lane centering, see how well it does here. So it's slowing me down because of these cars in front of me, and it does say lane centering is on now, that green steering wheel. So let's see if it speeds me up once these guys go. And it did, yep. Very good. Lane centering has taken over again. And I mean, you can see it turning the wheel a little bit, like it's doing a good job. This vehicle in front of me slowing way down. Brought me all the way to a stop there. Nice. Speed back up. There you go. It's a little bit laggy on the speed back up, but there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's probably the safer approach. But yeah, it's doing a good job. So in the right scenario, I think lane centering and the adaptive cruise system, adaptive cruise system works great no matter what, but the lane centering, again, it's definitely specific scenarios, but even like, look at this graphics package. That just screams 2015, 2016. So that's kind of what I mean when I say outdated. I think this is priced right around like 38-ish. So for the additional ground clearance, the wilderness badging, the 800-pound static load, the dual function X mode, the front view monitor camera, the 17-inch alloy wheels, the Yokohama Geolandar tires, the safety systems, the advanced eyesight, panoramic roof, LED lighting system, you name it. You know, you get a lot. There's a lot packed into this. Now, I think the price point is a little bit steep, if you ask me. It's really gonna come down to what you need as far as capacity goes, because a lot of these features you can get on the new 2024 Crosstrek Wilderness, but that comes with the larger 11.6-inch display and kind of a little bit more of a modern design on the front. And that's to be expected because it's a brand new model, whereas this Forester has been out for a while. So just something to keep in mind, but there's about a $7,000 price difference between this Forester Wilderness and the Crosstrek Wilderness, and they have the same engine. Crosstrek has more technology. So really it's gonna come down to, do you need the additional cargo space? Do you need the additional passenger volume? And if the answer to both of those is yes, or if you just like the look of the Forester, that's completely valid too, then definitely check out the Forester Wilderness. But if you don't, and you want all of the kind of wilderness-esque benefits, same engine, more technology, more modern design, check out the Crosstrek Wilderness. So you have a lot of options now, and I think that's really great that Subaru has given you different wilderness options across a lot of different price points. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Drop a like in the video if you loved it. Tell me in the comments down below, what do you think about the 2023 Subaru Forester Wilderness in this beautiful autumn green metallic? Let's have a conversation down in the comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be one of the first to see every single new video the second I hit publish. We'll see you in the next one.